Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Afia Afroz from Department of Economics, Kuliah of Economics and Management Science, International Islamic University, Malaysia. And today, actually, I will present the research paper which I have submitted here. The title of the research paper is developing Shariah Compliant Equity-Based Crowdfund Model for Solar Energy in Malaysia. And the co-researcher are Muhammad Niaz Morshed, Professor Dr. Jarita Duasha, and Associate Professor Dr. Maya Puspa. Okay, Malaysia is a growing economy and its GDP per capita is 11,414.8 in current US dollar, based on a stable GDP growth rate of 4.3% in 2019. Energy Commission of Malaysia in 2017 confirmed that energy consumption also expected to be increased by 6% per annum along with this economic growth. In the first half of 2010 alone, 21% of the electricity generated in Malaysia was consumed by residential sector, and the average annual consumption of per household is 3,300 kilowatt hour. Presently, the total number of residential dwellings are about 7.3 million, and it is projected that this number will be increased by 150,000 each year. So you can now imagine like how much will be the energy consumption after a few years. At the same time, the energy demand in the industrial sector also increasing, and it is increased by 9.1% in 2018 compared with the previous year. Okay, in Malaysia, the electricity generation is largely produced from non-renewable energy such as diesel, fuel oil, natural gas, and coal. And then in this figure, you can see that when there is more economic growth in Malaysia, the energy consumption also is increasing. And these are all non-renewable energy resources. And then when there is more economic growth, there is more energy consumption. At the same time, the emission of carbon dioxide also increasing, and you can see it in this figure. Now, the widespread use of non-renewable energy has many negative effects besides this emission of carbon dioxide. For example, it will pollute the water. Also, it will affect the health, and there is also indirect effects such as job failure. Now, Malaysia has a total reserve of 4.73 billion barrels crude oil in 2017, and it is ranked 16th in terms of the size of its natural gas reserve. That's why the people of Malaysia must realize that one day this reserve may be depleted if they cannot find an alternative source of the non-renewable energy. At the Copenhagen conference, Malaysia has pledged to reduce 40% carbon discharge by the year 2025 from the base year 2005. This means that to sustain the increasing electricity demand while cutting dependency on the fossil fuel, Malaysia needs to shift its electricity generation to alternative energy resources. That's why Malaysia now needs to focus more on the renewable energy. More concerted efforts are clearly required by the government and various stakeholders and institutions to make a more meaningful contribution of the renewable energy in the energy mix. Okay, in Malaysia, electricity from renewable energy sources could reach 11,227 gigawatt hour by 2020, in line with the RE policy and action plan. However, out of 194 gigawatt hour of solar PV, the signal solar PV system in the power structure is expected to increase 13,540 gigawatt hour by 2050. Because why? The increase in electricity generation from solar is due to the availability of sufficient sunlight and irradiance levels. Malaysia has more than 4 million buildings with rooftop solar potential in Peninsular Malaysia. So that's why we should focus now more on the solar energy. Okay, this figure is showing the installation of the home solar panel system in Malaysia. This system will add value for households as every month it saves money from bills of utilities. As the price of residential electricity in Malaysia increased by 3% each year, households can ensure that their finance do not suffer from increased electricity cost. Household Expenditure Survey Malaysia in 2019 report that household expenditure are increasing and highest consumption expenses of household is on the housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuels. It is about 25.1%. This system will cut down on electricity cost of the households. So in order to promote the renewable energy in Malaysia, okay, the government in Malaysia, they introduce different kind of green financing. For example, green investment tax incentive, which is called GITA, and green income tax exemption, which is called GITE, and green technology financing scheme and green financial incentive. So but although it has many benefits, but they have also some disadvantage. For example, uncertainty delivery of the credit, and the most crucial barrier in adoption of green technology is the economic barrier, which is the cost, and also there are lack of knowledge and expertise, lack of market demand, lack of green building codes and regulation, lack of incentive, lack of database and information. And Malaysia also introduced FIT and name system. Okay, let's see in the next slide. Okay, Malaysia introduced FIT, and then the name FIT means feed-in tariff. It is a new mechanism under the renewable energy policy and action plan to catalyze generation of renewable energy up to 30 megawatt in size. This mechanism allows electricity produced from indigenous renewable energy resources to be sold to power utilities at a fixed premium price for a specific duration. Now, owing to the high cost involved in funding such a project, the FIT scheme is not viable in the long run. Therefore, new energy metering system was implemented in 2016 by the government. NEM 2016 also failed to allow renewable energy to reach its goal target after 2 years of implementation. One of the key reasons is that all energy imported to the grid will be charged only at a displacement cost of 0.31 ringgit or 31 cent per unit per kilowatt hour, which is not financially attractive. Then later in 2019, okay, the government or they implement another name system which is called name 2019, and this system offers better cost saving in most cases, hence may attract more electricity consumer to install the solar PV system in their homes compared to the name 2016. However, cost saving is only apparent for large and some medium consumers. For small consumers, both name schemes will not be able to provide any saving to justify PV system installation because of the low electricity tariff charge and the high capital and maintenance cost of the PV system. Okay, in the next slide we will see how the name work. Okay, now you see that here solar panel convert energy from the sun into electricity. Then an inverter convert the electricity produced by the solar panel from direct current to alternating current for use in your house, home or business. Then the energy is used in your home, school or business. And then lastly, bi-directional meter measures energy use and excess energy produced. Now you see here that the excess energy from your solar panel not used in your home goes back to the grid, and then energy used in your home from the electricity grid. Okay, traditional source of finance might fail to support this green policy during this COVID-19 financial crisis. Hence, a significant gap will be created between supply and demand of financial resources for solar energy projects across many countries as both government funding and bank financing shrunk. In this context, okay, Sharia compliant equity-based crowdfunding could be an alternative approach which will support the name and will finance the start of solar farms who might face the shortage of the fund. The concept of Islamic crowdfunding is almost the same as the concept of crowdfunding in general. The difference lies in the application of an asset-backed transaction mechanism and profit loss margin. Islamic Sharia compliant crowdfunding It is actually a system that provides funding for halal project and product approved by the Islamic law. The product and fund invested must be legal. Furthermore, crowdfunding, it is not only a mean to finance a project but also a way to enact a more inclusive and democratized society. Hence, our proposed model will support the NEM program, reduce the barriers and risks faced by the solar farm. It will increase the gross domestic product, create jobs, and develop a low carbon society. Okay, in this model, the solar firm will prepare the Wakala agreement, which is known as the Master Mudaraba crowdfunding platform (MMCA), and then the firm they send their innovative project ideas to the Sharia compliant equity-based crowdfunding platform. And in the crowdfunding platform, the analytical and administrator they will review the project ideas. After screening the project proposal and MMC agreement based on the GRM 2016 guideline, if the project proposal is not approved, then the fundraising initiative will be halted. If it is approved, then the solar firm they have to update their profile, risk management, and profit sharing, and they have to fix the fund target, and then fundraising campaign will start for 45 to 60 days. And then after that, in the second stage, the crowdfunder or investor will enter into the MMCA with the solar farm, where the crowdfunding platform act as an agent to manage the whole process of collection of fund. Crowdfunders consist of individuals in the society, firm, even non-government organizations who choose to invest fund. They will receive profit or loss based on their investment according to the Mudaraba Sharia compliant contract. Once the fund target goal is met and after the expiration of the fixed date, the funds will be released to the solar farm subject to the applicable condition which is stipulated in the GRM 2016 guideline. The solar farm can install solar panel then at a lower price on the roofs of the building of the household due to available crowdfunding investment under the NAME program provided by the SEDA. And then they will actually continue their business. Okay, here we discuss how the whole process will work. First, the solar firm, they can manage the fund from the Sharia compliant equity based crowdfunding platform, and after that they have to do the registration with the SEDA, and SEDA they will offer two purchase mode to the consumer. One is this one outright purchase, where the consumer they have to contact with the registered solar company, and the solar company will apply for name on behalf of the consumer to SEDA, and the consumer can pay the price of the solar panel using three mode. One is the cash, another one credit card, another one is the loan. So another purchase mode offered by the SEDA is the leasing. Here the registered solar company will apply for name on behalf of the consumer, and they have to do the solar power purchase agreement, and then the solar leasing program will start. Okay, and then here this is the name program, how it will continue. First, the name user who actually produce excess electricity from own rooftop solar panel, and then the excess electricity will go to this Tenaga national grid, and from here the consumer they can get the electricity. And here there is smart meter who actually record the exchange of electricity between the name user, then this consumer, and the Tenaga national, tracked via the blockchain platform. And the consumer actually they purchase the excess electricity from this name user when available. Rest of the time they have to purchase from the Tenaga national. Okay, this is actually the level of the impact of the proposal. This one, Malaysia seeks to achieve a renewable energy target of 20% by 2025. This model, may make the grid relevant through the front of meter business opportunities available to solar farm through the NAME program. It is expected that the proposed model can save money on household electricity bill, help to meet carbon reduction target, and will generate income. It will also create health benefits such as reduction of the cardiovascular and respiratory disease and improve economic productivity from a healthier and more productive workforce. It can also create jobs for those engaged in managing, installing, and maintaining projects and throughout the supply chain, which has a knock-on impact on local economy. So the model can act as a catalyst to stimulate employment opportunity. Finally, it will be able to help the country to conserve the energy by utilizing the solar energy. Okay, the proposed model was validated through the field survey in January 2020 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Interviews and focus group studies support the suitability of this model in providing financial services for startup solar firms who are facing financial constraints. They further emphasize that the financial constraint of the solar farm and the consumer, the element of the sustainable funding, the importance of the proper management and administration, legal matters, and consumers' awareness about the impact of climate change are the key factors that can influence the sustainability of the proposed model. And these are the research achievement. Actually, we got the FRGS project under this topic, and these are the publication. And in conclusion, we can say that to achieve the sustainable development goals by 2030, Malaysia will require an estimated US dollar like 5 trillion to 7 trillion of annual investment across sectors and industries. This model can play an important role to bridge the financing gap. So thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.